All right, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and jump right in because 45 minutes is actually not a very long time to talk about social media as big as it is now. So first we want to do some introductions, and now my clicker's not working. Chuck, can you forward
your way.
me? Oh, there, hold on. Back up. There we go. And I just saw my fonts didn't take.
Oh, well.
First of all, I want to thank SCRS for putting the education process together. And what we're going to do is, first of all, thank our sponsors, and then we're going to jump right in. So, ladies and gentlemen, who are these people? We have a moderated panel discussion with 3 folks, and I'll let them introduce themselves. We'll actually start with Kristen because it's first on our list here with Collision Hub.
Hi, I'm Kristen Felder from Collision Hub. It's a social media website for collision repairs and a little bit of marketing help. I started in the industry as a body tech and a painter, and then I defected to the other side, much to the chagrin of my father, and worked in the insurance industry for about 14 years, corporate training, and a little bit of sports marketing. My degree is actually public relations and marketing. And then 2009, Collision Hub launched. So,
Great job.
Thanks, man.
And I'm Frank Turlip. I'm Frank Turlip, and I'm the CEO of Summit Software Mobile Solutions. I've been in the software business for the collision industry since 1985, and we build digital marketing software for the collision industry.
Jonathan Barrett.
Oh.
Here, has it? Hang on. Jonathan Barrett. I'm the marketing manager for Global Finishing Solutions. We're a manufacturer of paint booths and finishing systems for not just the automotive industry, but we also do aerospace, industrial finishing systems, and pretty much any type of coating operation. We would manufacture equipment for that, powder coating, liquid. Doesn't really matter. We do it all. I'm the marketing manager. I've been with the company since about 2003. Started on an internship and have progressed up, and here I am now. And yeah, good to be here.
Welcome, everyone. And my name is Jordan Hendler. I'm going to moderate the panel today. I'm with Admin Concepts, an administrative company, and we also do social media marketing management for collision repairers. I've been in the collision repair industry, unfortunately, my entire life.
Oh, come on, not unfortunately.
I know. Good and bad, right, Frank? Good and bad. But I've been in the administrative for associations for several years, and have learned to love the industry throughout my career. So I'm really excited to be here, really excited to be able to moderate this panel. Social media is something that I find exciting, and with the panel that we have here, we should give some insights to some pretty amazing things that are going on in social media right now, and how collision repairers can take advantage of that at a low-cost basis, really,
right.
and how effective it really can be for collision repairers. So we'll get started. So Frank, I'll start with you. So what do you think? What is social media to you? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, if you go back historically, I mean, if you remember pre-social media, you'd have a customer have a good experience, they will tell 2 or 3, or you had someone that had a bad experience, they would tell 10 or 13. In today's world, it's word of mouth on steroids for all intents and purposes. So, your typical Facebook user has 150 friends, so if one person says one thing, 150 other people immediately know about what they're going to say. But it's also a methodology of staying in touch with your customers, staying in touch with your community. It's a sharing, in my opinion. It's a platform to share.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had, everybody kind of says that we've had this revolution, and social media is a revolution. It's really not. We've always been really good at talking to each other, forming relationships and bonds, and in our industry, we used a lot of our trade associations and our meetings to do that. And what social media really did is take the concept of interaction and put it in a whole different arena where you could do it on the steroid scale. That's a great analogy. One of the greatest things that social media has done is it's allowed us to get through connections a lot faster. So where we used to meet people and it'd take us a long time to develop a relationship, there's something with social media that really gives you kind of an instantaneous relationship. Harvard Business did a study about 3 or 4 years ago, and they basically said, hey, we polled people and asked them, of your online friends and your friends, what value do you put on those relationships? And study after study came back and said we value our online relationships as same and sometimes greater than the face-to-face interactions we have. Sure. So what social media has done for us as a business has allowed us to take every level of networking that we ever had, whether the face-to-face interactions and our ability to interact with people online, put it in a social media environment and take your marketing to an explosive level for really no cost. I mean, you can hire people that'll do marketing and stuff for you, but really if you're just good, you got friends, and you're personable, you can take over your marketing, reach more customers than you ever could before.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Both of these answers have been spot on. Essentially, my perspective is very similar, but it's taking conversations that are already happening that it just amplifies them, by an exponential amount, and makes them public. It makes it so that they're not behind closed doors anymore. They're not just limited to 2 or 3 people or whoever happens to be immediately involved in the conversation, but it's completely available to everybody. It's public, it's archived, it's searchable, and it becomes a very large influencing factor of what the brand is that they're actually talking about. The brand used to be determined by the messages that were being sent out by the organization. Well, now the brand is being determined by what's being said by the customers and by the public. And it's certainly a game-changing atmosphere to be in right now, because as much as we like to think that we control the marketing messages and we control what our company is all about, it really is determined by the customers themselves and the public themselves and what their opinions are of us.
Yeah, and also the level of transparency now, whatever you do is there. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no more, I don't think you can hide anymore behind the brand or behind the message, because really you don't control the message anymore. Absolutely. Right? I mean, the consumer is the one who really controls the message, or their social media partners or the consumers, they control the message. You don't as a company anymore.
Yeah. Right. And when you look at marketing studies, over the last couple of years, we've completely changed the way we teach marketing in college. We used to say, hey, we got this funnel, we're going to influence you up here and we're eventually going to influence you down to the buy. And now we have this kind of tornado approach where we found out most companies research a product after they buy it, not before. And their online experience after that purchase is more of the advocate, bond with the product, and then they either want to celebrate it or they want to tell you what they don't like about it. Mm-hmm. And that's good and bad for collision repair, because when you think about it, people usually aren't shopping for us before there's been an incident. So nobody sits around and goes, I think I'm going to research collision repair for several months before I make a purchase. We have an incident and then we suddenly need to get our car repaired. An adjuster may call us and we've got about 5 minutes to make a decision where that car is going to go. And social media gives you that ability to interact, connect with that customer long before that purchasing event happens. And then you're going to have that bond experience afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, I think the big question that I hear a lot is, but how do I know that my customers really want to know about me? Because like you just alluded to, they don't need me till they need me. So how do I know that this is something that I need to do for my customers, and how do I know that they're going to want it, and how do I know that they're going to react to it? So, Jonathan, what do you think as far as starting that out? How do we know that the customer of the collision repair shops want this?
Well, it's hard to say that it breaks down to one particular industry wanting it or another. I mean, Facebook has 800 million members. I mean, it's a staggering number when you really think about it. So it's not a matter of whether your customers want it. Your customers are there, and they are following brands already. I mean, whether they follow, Starbucks or Apple or whatever else they're following. Statistics have shown that if a customer follows a brand on Facebook, they're 51% more likely to actually purchase that brand, which is a huge advantage when you think about it. And your social media presence, how you're handling that, really determines whether or not that customer is going to follow you or not. So, the customers are already there. They're already using these tools. They're already interacting with brands in a certain way. It's just a matter of whether or not you're going to be present in that space as well.
But again, at the same time, it's no different. It's no different than what it was before. It's just, again, instead of going out and meeting with your community face to face, you're meeting with them online. Everybody, there's this mystique about social media, I think, for a lot of collision repairers. And it's really no different. It's just an electronic way to participate in your community. And from a power perspective, there's so much more a collision repairer can offer to a community electronically than they could physically. But second of all, on the back end, there's so much more they can get back from the community than they could from, well, I have to have an open house. Think about the old-fashioned, let's have an open house and have people come in. You know, Facebook, you have an open house every day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's critical. Do your customers need it? Yes. Do they want it? Yes. Do you need it? Yes. I mean, discussing it is over. I mean, we could debate it for another, you know, a year and a half, but like Jonathan said, the customers are there, and they're interacting with other brands. They're probably interacting with your competitors if you're not already there. And those competitors are doing a great job of doing what we've always done. We've always sponsored the softball, the Little League baseball. Right. We've always done that. But we take it, we put it onto the social media environment, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Flickr. You know, how many of us in our shops had these huge trophies and plaques from where we had sponsored everything, and we'd bring you in and you were shopping for 3 estimates in the old days. Go get me 3 estimates and bring them back. And we'd want you to sit right in front of our trophies, because we wanted you to know how good we were for the community.
Or the love book, right?
Yeah, the love book that we put in front of you, and go, look how great we are. And we'd hope that that would resonate with you, but you're trying to make a decision in the end. And social media gives us a place to put that love book out there. It gives us a chance to show not only that we sponsor a Little League team, but show the Little League team. It gives you the opportunity to invite the parents of the Little League team to join and fan you on Facebook and follow you, so that their 150 friends whose kids not playing on your T-ball team now knows who you are. I mean, the discussion of should you be doing it, it's done. If you're not doing it, hurry.
Yeah.
Get there quickly. Facebook has a limited amount of what we call the vanity addresses. Facebook searches and indexes differently. Twitter does the same thing. If there are 3 Bob's Body Shops in your town, you know, you may not be able to be Bob's Body Shop on Facebook. So if you're not there, when you go home today and walk out of here, just reserve your website. Yeah. Just reserve your page. Yeah. Then go, you know, talk to somebody else. But it's a done deal. You're going to have it in this industry to go forward.
Absolutely. So, you know, obviously, we all agree it's a necessity. This is something that you have to do. There's not a choice anymore. Right. If you want to continue and to get your brand out there, noticed, and, you know, followed, now's our big terminology. You know, how do I start this process? You know, that's always a big question. Is how am I gonna go out there and, like you say, okay, I can reserve the page, but how do I even get started in this mess? And, you know, you got the Facebook, the Twitter, the YouTube, there's all kinds of other thousands and thousands of other arenas I can put my name out there. Where do I even start? Are those the minimum places to start? Where do we take the first step?
Well, you know, there's the big 4. I mean, if you're, by the way, like you said, there's thousands of places online to go to. But today, in my opinion, you have big 4. You got Facebook, you have YouTube, you've got Twitter, you've got LinkedIn. Yeah. Those are the big 4, okay? And if you focus on the big 4, in my opinion, you're going to be fine. And how do you get started? Like Kristen said, get a page, but then just don't start posting right away. Have a plan, right? Just go get a page, but then don't say, well, so what do I do? Sit down with people who have done it before, talk to previous shops who've done it before, talk to people like us on the stage, and put a plan together. Because if you don't have a plan together, in my opinion, you could make big mistakes.
Right. Yeah, we've seen some of those big mistakes over the last couple of years. Yep. Getting yourself out there and setting up, obviously the plan you've got to have. Now, you may have somebody in your family that's really social media savvy that can come in and kind of help you out. Usually the tendency for shop owners we talk to right now is, well, I got this paint prepper and he's like 22 years old. He's really good with social media. He's not, folks. You know, we're not interacting with our friends over a frat party. We're trying to kind of do our business in a social environment. So just because somebody at your shop may be young and thinks they're good with it, that's probably not where you need to be going. So once you get that kind of set out, you got a couple of aspects to go through. You can have a consultant come in and kind of work with you, and there's lots of companies in our industry that specialize in consulting shops and social media. But one of the other lines of revenue, there are opportunities that you have. You know, body shops, I never had any money. I don't know about y'all, but you know, I didn't have a lot of profit, and my advertising and marketing budget wasn't because I didn't want to have one. It was because I didn't have the funds to have one. And so if you have a local college, a local community college or university close to you that has a public relations or a marketing department, they are always looking for clients to take on, to have projects to do for their senior projects. So when I was graduating with my marketing degree, I had to do a nonprofit project, I had to do a business project. So I did a hospital and I did my dad's body shop, right? So those would love to have you. They need that exposure. They're trying to develop a portfolio, and they've got a lot of great ideas. And they will take you on at no cost, and they will help you and walk you through the process, and you'll probably get a great product. And then when you sit down with them, you're going to want to have that plan, like Frank said. Make sure you've got a plan and you're going to follow it. Are you going to let your shop employees participate? Are you going to let them tag photos? Are you going to have a photo guideline on what goes out? You know, do I show license plates, not show license plates? What are we going to do there? And once you have a guideline set up, then you're able to sit down, go over it with all your employees and say, here are the guidelines that we're going to use around social media in our business. Here's what you can do, here's where you can't do. And then you're ready to launch. And then from there, you're set.
Jonathan, what do you think about
Well,
planning?
I kind of look at it like there's a few steps that the shops can actually do themselves before they even get in touch with a third party. But I mean, for anybody who's really intimidated, then working with a third party, you know, a marketing firm or an agency that specializes in social media is definitely a good way to sort of take that fear away and get the understanding. But there's a couple of things that shops can do right from the start. The first one I like to call is hunting for the conversations. And you can use online tools like Social Mention, which basically you type in a keyword or a search term and it'll automatically scan. It's like Google, but for social media. And it allows you to find where these conversations are happening in, you know, whether they be on Twitter or if there's a blog or whatever the case may be. It'll pull them all up and it'll tell you what the sentiment is, whether it's positive or neutral or negative. So it allows you to very easily visually scan where these conversations are happening. So after you've hunted for them, the next thing you need to do is listen. You need to actually read the content that's there. What are these people saying, and where are they saying it, and who's saying it? And the third step is you have to identify which pieces of content are actually generating engagement, because that's really what we're talking about here, is the interaction between the person who's putting out the content and the audience who's receiving it. So if you can identify that, well, videos are getting a lot of engagement, but you know, big long text articles are not getting a lot of engagement. Well, that kind of gives you a plan of, well, then obviously I should be posting videos to generate more interaction. So identifying what types of content are really valued by your audience is going to be key.
Awesome. So, you know, going a little further, so we know we need to have a conversation, and you know, that's the whole basis behind social media, is having those conversations with our customers and building those relationships online. So, you know, often we talk about what should I say, what shouldn't I say, and there's some obvious, you know, what shouldn't I says out there in the collision industry.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take the first one off the docket, which is, you know, don't talk about your insurer relationships on your Facebook page. You know, that's definitely a big no-no. But at the same time, you know, we know that if you work with certain insurers, that you can be like their page from your page, and then your customers see that, okay, well, you know, I know that my insurer is part of this shop because I can see it on their Facebook page. So, you know, specific information, things like that, what do you guys think is conversations you should and shouldn't have? And, you know, maybe, Jonathan, if you want to take that one to start.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, people read social media, or people read anything, really, for one of three reasons. It's either educational, so you're learning something, helpful tips and tricks, advice, that kind of stuff. It's either going to be entertaining, so it's, hey, wow, that was really cool, or, you know, neat videos and stuff like that. Or it's going to be something exclusive, something that they can't get anywhere else. So, you know, sign up for Facebook, get a discount or something like that. Those are really going to be the three reasons that anybody's going to connect with you. Is you're either educational, entertaining, or you're giving them something that they can't get anywhere else. So that's really what you want to focus on. A good way to approach the education side of things is what kind of questions does your shop get asked every single day? When people walk in, they're going to be asking probably the same questions over and over and over again. Well, putting together frequently asked questions, you know, helpful articles, maybe answering what the, you know, talking about what the process is when people come by, you know, giving them information that they're going to need regardless ahead of time allows you to build that relationship that you're trying to help them, and you're not asking for anything in return as a result. So that's certainly a good way to start. What you don't want to do is post just random miscellaneous things. You know, I've seen a couple of Twitter feeds out there that I guess are maybe managed by a third party, which is probably the worst thing you can do, is automate this stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's really supposed to be person to person. You don't want a robot sending out, you know, 10 tweets a day that have nothing to do with your business, you know, what the weather's like, or, you know, funny news headlines or things like that. I mean, that's not what people are going to follow you for. They're going to follow you for something that they can't get anywhere else. So.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think person to person is really, really important. And so and again, to take the mystique out of it, if I'm a shop owner today and I'm communicating to the community one-on-one in a physical setting, it's the same deal, except you get a chance to talk to not 1 or 10, but 150 times whatever. So you really take the mystique out of it. You're talking to your community, you're talking to your customers, but also never forget, whatever goes on Facebook, it's sort of like, if you're in Vegas, you know, it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away.
It doesn't stay in Vegas, Frank? I thought that's the whole point.
Facebook
stays on YouTube now.
It stays on YouTube now, right?
Yeah, it is.
But the other thing is, you know, shops have the ability, and this is really important in my opinion, is they can become the expert in their community. And the consumers are looking for experts. You know, as we know, consumers don't get in accidents but once every 10 years. They don't know who to ask, so they have the opportunity to be an expert.
Right. And I guess I have a unique perspective here, because part of my 14 years in the insurance industry was running focus groups for customers that had had an accident and a repair situation. So, you know, a couple of times a year we'd call in 100 or so customers and ask them about that repair experience. What did you think with your interaction with the shop? What did you think with the claim? What did you think with the repair? And so just a few tips for you. They really don't care about what's going on between insurers and repairers and DRPs, and you've got the right to choose your own shop. They know that. You know, to put that on your Facebook page makes them kind of think that there's an adversarial relationship there already. It makes them uneasy, and then it's going to make them not feel comfortable. It's an accident, folks. They're not comfortable already. So sharing the politics of our industry with your consumers, probably not a great thing to do. And choosing who you like as an insurer. We love to work for so-and-so, but we really don't like to work for this company. I know that some of you feel that way. When I was repairing cars, I had my favorites and I had my least favorites. There were certain estimates I loved to see and there were estimates I didn't like to see. But my customer doesn't care about that. They just want to know their car is going to get fixed. So setting that up in front of them doesn't make them feel like they want to choose you. You want to make sure that you're personable and relatable, which both people have said. And the industry expert thing, you need to think about being an expert from the consumer's perspective, not from our perspective. So when you're going to talk about what customers want to know, quite honestly, they really don't want to know anything about collision repair. They don't want to think about it. They don't care about the welding. Scares them to death. But they like to know things about, how do I keep my refinish looking nice? What are polished questions and detailing questions? And you know, we outsource a lot in mechanical. I may only choose collision repair every 10 years, but I'm going to get my oil changed. I'm going to get my tires rotated. I'm going to do all of that frequently. And we do that too in the collision business. You know, if we've got a front end wreck, I'm going to be mounting and balancing. I'm probably going to be rotating for drivability issues. So you guys have the content to offer them about tires and checking your tires for the winter. And hey, is your car winter ready? Have you checked your coolant level? Have you checked your brake fluid? Do you have a winter kit in the back of your car? Those are the things that the consumers want to know. They want to know about texting and driving campaigns and how do I prevent my teenager from driving. We're experts in that as an industry, but we tend to get sucked in on what we think is important, and we try to force our issues on the consumer, and then they quickly don't follow your page.
Kristen, I'm going to stick with you on the next one, you know, because I know how passionate you are about community organizations and how to involve the community in all of your social media aspects when it comes to a brand or a business. You know, we started out saying, you know, now you don't just support the local team or the local church and just the customers that make your lobby see it. Now you can do it in a social media atmosphere. I know you've worked with several, you know, businesses, shops, and things like that on community efforts and how they can involve the social media. So, you know, definitely take that. How do you do that in involving the community? And to me, it starts in the shop, you know.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, if you look at some of the marketing research and you think of consumers today, they'll tell you that, you know, in the 90th percentile, that they believe that the company they're doing business with should be doing more for their community. That they want to do business with companies that they feel are doing things that really don't involve your product. They want to know that you're doing lots of community involvement issues. And you think about the collision repair industry historically, we've always been the pillars of communities. I mean, going back from as long as we've had collision repair out there, those body shops have always been the Little League sponsors. They've been the community bake sales. They've been the ones. It's always the body shops and the auto mechanic guys. That's the roots of our industry. We've always found that connection. And I think it's because consumers have always come to us with a need. So it's not like I'm going to buy a loaf of bread. Consumers come to us, my car's not running or it's not driving or the front end's falling off or whatever. So they've got a need, we help them out, and that community involvement goes back. So what we work for when we're working with our companies on projects, they'll come to us and say, hey, I've got my social media, but I need a project. What can I do? We sit down and talk to them about what's there in your community already. There are sports leagues that you can do. There are church groups. There are charitable causes. You know, we've got some soldiers here right now. Operation Comfort's here, and they're wounded soldiers from Iraq and Afghanistan that are coming back. We put stuff like that on Facebook pages. We do community events around it. Texting and driving right now is huge, and you have several of the large insurers that you may already be doing business with in your DRP arrangements have texting and driving campaigns, and they have limitless resources to you about what, things you can hand out, things you can have. Hold a texting and driving rodeo in the parking of your shop. Invite people to bring their kids over and talk about the dangers of texting and driving. We're not doing this in a car, folks. We're just going to do it in a golf cart. And then we're going to teach them about it, and when they walk out, we're going to have them sign the No Texting and Driving Pledge. That may be a partnership with State Farm's texting campaign. It may be Progressive's texting campaign right now. But you've done several things. One, you've helped the community about an issue in need. You've also shown one of your vending partners that you have a relationship with them. Is that me? Because I'm sorry. This is me being...
now he turned me off.
I'm making a personal connection with the audio guy. And I'm saying I'm sorry. But there are some resources that you have in our industry that really give you a unique advantage over any other business in your community, even the dealerships, because you have some relationships with some insurance partners out there. And that brings the community to you for something they need when they don't need you. They don't need the collision repair, but they need that advice on texting and driving. And you may make a new relationship with an agent, and that may spawn off some more business to you in the long run.
Frank, what do you think? What do you think about community interaction? How shops can take the leap on that?
Well, again, piggybacking on what Kristen said, again, to take the mystique out of social media, shops, businesses have always done it. It just gives you that opportunity, again, to take what you've done before and just times 10. I mean, it really does give you that opportunity. On the screen we've got sports, church, charitable causes. Kristen mentioned insurers, agents, partner with other local businesses to offer things like that. So it's, again, no mystique. It's what you've always done. It's just a different venue.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's so easy to find stuff to share out that you're already doing, that businesses have done, for forever. It's just a matter of, kind of taking a step back and looking at what is the good stuff that we're doing, and then identifying what it is, and then sharing that information with the community.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just give you a tip. How many shops are here? Any shops? Right. Just a quick tip, take it back right now. We're getting ready for winter driving. So you could go and partner up with all of us, probably buy a lot of stuff from Napa. Yep. Or O'Reilly's, right? I'm either sometimes they're my paint distributor, but we're already got a relationship with somebody. Go call them today, tell them that you want to set up a winter car care clinic for consumers in your community. You're going to spend a little bit of time doing a little bit of newspaper marketing, maybe a little radio, which is really cheap right now. You're going to put it on your Facebook page, and you're going to partner up with them. You're going to set up a winter car care get ready clinic in your shops. Consumers are going to get to come by. It's going to be great for O'Reilly or Napa or who your partner is there, because they got the potential to sell some products to them. Maybe we'll check their wiper blades, we'll sell some stuff. It's great for you because you're going to show you care about them. You're also going to make that consumer come to you and get a chance to see your shop before they have to make that decision and go back and share it with their friends. And you'd be surprised about every 9 out of 10 cars we look at need a set of wiper blades, just something simple. That's a quick thing you can do, no cost. O'Reilly's will probably, or Napa will spend most of the money, donate the product and give it to you. You just got to figure out how you're going to get people there on a Saturday. You may want to do it every other Saturday up until December and watch your fan base explode.
And, going off of that, and these are all great ideas, and I know, one of the things that I've had, and this is where all my customers come from, is, oh my gosh, I would love to do all this social media stuff. I want to be involved. I want to know, I don't know what I'm doing. I know I want to do it, but I know I don't have the time. Time is what we all get paid on. And that's the pressure that all shops face is, I really want to do it. I'm not sure that I have the time. How can I get help with this? That's obviously that's a service that a couple of us on this stage offer. So, we're an obvious solution here. Not to, let us get the plug-in, but, how do shops go about using a third party? And, does that mean I'm totally hands-off as a shop?
I'll take it first. First of all, I think, again, mystique. It doesn't really take a lot of time. Yeah. I'm not trying to put myself or us out of business, but, if you've got your plan right, it doesn't take a lot of time. But with that said, if you really don't have the time, I think you can never be hands-off. Because it's a person-to-person communication. And if you let someone take the responsibility for your business to communicate to your community, I think it's a mistake. Yeah. I really think it's a big mistake.
Yeah. I know that all of us, my solution for most shops is try to find something that they can do for free. We'll design custom pages for people and give them advice for free over the phone, but I just remember being a poor shop. So, the objective here is that if you do, never walk away. I can't think of anybody, and that would be able across the country, coast to coast, be able to handle your collision repair social media that you would be hands off with, because it's so niche to your shop and it's so niche to your community. And it's so, I just can't think of someone that would let you be completely hands-off that could fit your entire market all the time. Now, you may have somebody right in your town right now that's got a collision-type background that understands that would take it over for you. But for most of us, that's not a reality. We've got a lot of companies and marketing companies that'll come by and say, hey, we're your social media experts. We're going to ghost blog for you. We're going to post for you. We're going to do all that. They're going to do just generic stuff, and every company that's on their payroll is getting the exact same messages that you are.
And there's no personality.
There's no personality there.
There's no personality.
And you can tell when I go on somebody's page, I can go, without even asking them, I can say, you're paying somebody to do that, right? And they go, well, yeah, how'd you know? I go, it's pretty obvious.
Really easy.
Yeah. So you want to look for somebody that's willing to give you options. If somebody just comes in and says, hey, this is our plan, take it or leave it, it means that they've cookie-cuttered it for everybody that's coming in. Yeah. So you really want to talk, if you're going to look for that third party, make sure that they understand, what I may do for an MSO that's got 63 locations or 300 locations across the U.S. was not what needs to be done for an independent shop owner in Idaho. So make sure somebody's got some offers there for you. And then have conversations with multiple people. Don't just go with the first person in your area, and don't just go with the first person that someone recommends to you. Make sure that you always get a scalable option that turns control back over to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And never let somebody do anything in your name that doesn't have your approval.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have somebody ghost blog for you, which isn't a bad idea, have somebody writing ghost things that go out there about automotive. It's a great way to increase your search engine optimization right now. But you want to make sure that those are pre-written and submitted to you in advance for approvals. I've seen some blogs go out there. I've called some of the companies and went, I know you didn't write it. How'd you know that? I can tell by what I'm reading. And did you know what's out there? And they're like, we didn't see that. Oh my God, we're going to go take it down. But once it's out there, it's there, and you can't really take it down. We're going to find it forever.
Yeah, the hiring of a third party is really good to help you learn the ropes, to help you identify, maybe which sites you should be on, where your communities already exist, and what you really should be saying. But the last thing that you want to do is start outsourcing the voice of your company. Social media is where the voice of your company not only is amplified, but it's where it's most transparent. You used that word earlier, where there's no question as to whether or not it should be done by somebody within your organization. And a lot of people kind of get tripped up on the fact that they think they have to do everything themselves, and they don't realize that they've got their entire organization at their disposal to help with this stuff. If you're trying to do it as a one-man show, it's going to be really hard. So identify the other people in your organization who have unique knowledge, who have, maybe already have some inherent social skill, and get them to help you put content together, maybe from different areas of your business, so you can share that stuff. Identifying the individuals in your organization that can help you and put a team together is going to make it a lot easier, and it's not only that, it's going to make it a lot more effective as well.
And almost every shop in North America has somebody or multiple people in their businesses that can help.
Yeah.
I think it's funny when a shop will say, well, a shop owner or manager will say, I don't know anything about social media. I don't want to do anything with it. I don't think my guys do either. And the funny thing to me is that every smartphone has a Facebook app on it, and I'll guarantee between jobs they're looking at their Facebook page, they're posting something. I've seen it where technicians are posting pictures of, you know, a cool car they got to work on, a cool paint job they got to do, and they're getting all the social media feedback on their personal page, when if the shop would just have the same person with the same motivation to share their work, do the same thing for the business. They have a built-in social media campaign manager who is the unorthodox or unlikely candidate to take that on for him. So, you know, I want to take the time to let anybody that's in the audience ask any questions, or is there any aspect maybe of the social media realm that you guys feel that may be something you want to have a question about, inquire the panel about? Is there anybody out there that has any lingering questions, and I can get off this stage and let you ask it? And is there anyone out there has? Oh, David, 1 second.
Is there social media in Australia?
There is social media in Australia.
It's upside down.
It's all rugby.
Thanks for that comment.
You're welcome, sir.
Just as an aside here, being an older person in the industry, I was speaking to Kirsten last night about something, and I said, no, that ain't going to happen. I've changed my mind overnight, so you can change, okay? With the people you deal with right now, are they younger or older?
You know, that's a really interesting question. When we share our stats, so obviously CollisionHub.com is a social site where shops come, shops, vendors, insurers. About 57% of my membership is body shops, 14% is insurance executives. But they come and they build their profiles, and then we track our stats. About 60% of my traffic is from the ages of 35 and 55. So the mystique that you think it's, you know, it's the 20-somethings. You know, interesting enough, my YouTube traffic to my videos on my YouTube channel, 35 to 55 is 60% of my YouTube views. So when people think it's a 15-year-old kid that's watching my video of Foos, it's 35 to 55. That's your target purchase audience. Those are the people in the body shops that are making decisions. They're deciding what the shop's going to buy. They're deciding what the shop's going to use. You know, we work mostly with the vendor companies, but they're the same thing. 35 to 45 to 55, those are your parents. They're looking to, you know, either fix their own car, fix their teenager's car. They've got the kids. The demographic is middle. The fastest growing audience in Facebook right now is over the age of 65. So it's not women. It's not kids anymore.
And they're the highest likelihood to wreck their car.
Yeah.
Very true.
80% of your automotive purchasing decisions, a little bit higher, and you know, if Lauren Fix was here, she's got some great stats for us, but over 80% of your purchasing decisions for automotive repair and auto purchase are made by women.
Another key stat to remember is 112, in the US anyway, there's 112 million Gen X and Gen Y, and as you said, Jordan, they're the worst drivers.
They're awesome for collision repair. They're our favorite people.
One comment that I'd just like to make is don't underestimate the significance of what I like to call lurkers. They're not necessarily...
Did you say lurkers?
Lurkers.
Lurkers.
They're not necessarily commenting on the stuff that's there, but they're watching it, they're reading it, and they're searching for it. YouTube right now is the #2 search engine behind Google. It's the only other one that even is competing with Google right now for search traffic. So, I mean, the power there that you get exposed to these people, even if they're not necessarily interacting, they're still being influenced by the content that's there.
And that's one thing, when you're, you know, if you set up a Facebook page, if you already have it, and you go in your Insights tab, what Jonathan's talking about is you can find the people that have hit your page by their IP address. So that should be that they're an individual. So that I may have 50,000 views on my page, but I may only have 25,000 unique IPs. That tells me people are coming back a couple of times. But when you look at your Facebook stats, you'll see that you probably had about, you know, for me, on a monthly average, about 8,000 different IPs come to the Collision Hub Facebook page. But I've only got like 3,000 fans. So that tells me that my lurker audience that's checking on me is double what my fan who's hit the like on me is. So you never want to, you may open a page and go, gee, I only got 100 and something fans. That doesn't seem real good. Check that stat. You may find you got 1,000 or something people coming to your page. They just hadn't liked you because maybe they don't want to have that content post up on their wall, but they're really interested in what you have to say.
Absolutely.
I'll give a one-shop example of that. They have 170 like on their page. So they have 170 people that have said, I'll watch your page. and I'll stand up and say I watch your page. However, in 1 week or off one post, there was 6,000 views.
Lurkers.
Lurkers.
Yeah.
So
New
you
terminology.
can't just think that number that's visible is the only number that matters when the lurkers are out there.
Absolutely,
Clearly they're out there,
absolutely.
and that's 20 times the number of people that they think might be on their
thought they were
page.
reaching.
Or
Yeah, we get that a lot. A client will call us and say, look, something's wrong with our page. We've only got 50 fans. Like, well, let me look at your stats first before we decide what's wrong with your page. And they'll have that high lurk audience. And it's like, you're really touching a lot, but let's see if we can come up with something to get people to click a few more likes for you. So
Yeah.
we're going to give something away. They always love that when you tell them.
Oh,
Jonathan, can we give a
absolutely,
booth away?
Yeah. I'd love to. Yeah.
I need one in my shop. I'll use it a lot. Put it in YouTube.
Ah, there you go.
One of our audience members also has a question.
Will you guys talk about tracking, determining ROI, monetizing, the Holy Grail?
Yeah,
let
I
me-
could-
yeah. And
Everybody
I'll let
wants
you
to
take
know
it
what
from
it's worth.
You're
Sure,
going to take
I-
it from a business perspective there.
I'll answer some questions about ROI. I mean, there's two different things that you got to think about. I mean, social media, we question the ROI of it all the time, but 10 years ago, I'm going to quote Scott Stratton, who's one of the biggest social media minds out there right now. In his book, he says that if 10 years ago I came to you and I gave you a tool that allowed you to listen in on all of the conversations that are happening with your customers, your competitors' customers, and all of that stuff in real time, and it was free, you'd pay thousands and thousands of dollars for that service. But now, when it's here and it's available to us and it doesn't cost us anything, everybody gets tripped up on what the ROI is, But that being said, there are a lot of things that you get out of it that you can tie a monetary dollar to. Obviously, when we start getting into things like market research, if you've got a community of a couple hundred people, well, that's a couple hundred people that you can ask questions to. You can get, feedback, improve your operations, maybe cut out some things that aren't generating any revenue and add things that would. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can justify the ROI and the time that you're spending on it. It's just a matter of what you really want to, what you ultimately are trying to get out of it. That's what you need to determine. But
Frank, one of the things I always like to say is you're trading dollars for hours. So rather than spending thousands of dollars on newspaper, thousands of dollars on radio, I hate to say yellow pages because God knows we should have given that up way before it fell down.
Right.
But to me, it's about trading the dollars you would have spent there where they're working for you to trading the time it takes to monitor and watch these things grow and have the conversations. So, to me, it's trading dollars for time.
Yeah. I mean, again, perfect example. ROI to me, again, how much is it worth for you to go out in your community physically and talk to people, right? I mean, to me, the ROI is I'm doing, again, the same thing that I would do physically, but now I get to do it electronically times 10. So the ROI to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, it really is
exponential to you.
Yeah.
Let me give you kind of my perspective coming, from working in a large corporate marketing department that bought lots of Super Bowl space or whatever. So when you think about it, ROI, honestly, folks, is garbage. It's a term we came up with years and years ago for some marketing person to sit in their place and say, here's what I'm getting back for all the money that you're giving me in my budget. But now let's think about it. You buy an ad, you put it in the local newspaper. How do you know? You don't have ROI on print. You really don't have ROI on radio and TV.
You only know what they tell you.
Now, they're going to tell you, well, our
they're gonna tell
circulation
you,
is so-and-so, right? But think about it. We all read the newspaper. I may read the sports section. I played college ball. I love sports. That's what I like to look at. I don't read the rest of the paper, sports section, and I'm done. So you might have put that ad in that paper. It may say I got a circulation of 75,000 people, but if you weren't in the sports section, I didn't see you. So did we ever really have ROI in the collision repair industry? No. Occasionally we did some things where we said, bring this coupon in, get a free car wash, and we would collect coupons and say, well, that was really, I got 15 coupons out of the newspaper, but I only got 5 out of the radio, So we've never had ROI in marketing. I mean, people will give you fancy reports. They're going to tell you what it is, but in reality, from setting up way up here and looking at, millions of dollars of budgets, we never knew what our return was.
Here's a simple question. What's the return on investment? If you have 150 people that like your business, multiply 150 times 150 times 150. What's the value there to be able to share your story, your personality? To me, again, no-brainer.
Yeah.
No-brainer.
Well, you know, I think we've covered the questions from the audience. I'll just say, you know, as closing comments here, as we thank everybody for coming and hearing our insight on social media and, you know, all of the great wonders of the world right now. You know, what are your closing thoughts? Frank, I'll let you start. You know, what are your closing thoughts of, you know, how do we wrap this up and how do we go out and enjoy the rest of SEMA and maybe go to the SCRS RDE education with these thoughts in mind of how I'm going to convey my message and maybe how I can use the power of social media to do that?
My point about social media, it's a piece of a bigger strategy. Just don't think social media is my one marketing channel. You have several. But it's a piece, it's an important piece. And again, build it into your overall marketing and communication plan, but just don't bet the farm on social media. Don't forget there's email, there's text, and all the other things that you can do. So have a bigger plan.
Yeah. Texting is amazing, by the way. Proximity marketing with texting,
Yeah,
I love it.
cool.
I mean, you can put this thing in your shop, and if somebody drives by and they're Bluetooth's enabled, it automatically sends them a message about your shop. It's genius, by the way. So sidebar, we'll talk about that later. All right, two little things that I tell you. So right now at SEMA, you know, everybody's got an iPhone or some sort of smartphone. Does that smartphone shoot video?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So you're walking the SEMA floor and you are looking at some amazing things that are, a lot of them are consumer driven. Now SEMA's here looking at you as a purchaser or a buyer, thinking you want to take them back and sell them in your store. But there's great tips for, you know, suction mounts for cup holders, and there's things that your customers would like to see. And you've made a significant investment to come here, spend money on your education, your training, and taking a look at what's good for the industry. Take that back.
And put it on your Facebook
and put it to
page.
your Facebook page and your
Absolutely.
Twitter account. Hey, I'm here at SEMA.
Some crazy
you know,
car.
2011. I just saw this great tool. You know, we often see how many accidents do we get in our collision repair shop that started from a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
My coffee spilled, and then I panicked, and then I hit the ditch, right? Or my radio. Well, hey, there's this great tool that controls the radio from your steering wheel. I found this great thing over here that prevents your coffee cup from spilling. That's phenomenal content for your social media. You're here, take it, photograph it, videotape it, take it back today, put it on your page, share the experience, and and help with your customers. The second thing I always tell people is remember that social media is not a cookie cutter like we talked about, but once you make that plan, what you put on your Facebook page is not what goes on your LinkedIn page, is not what goes on your Twitter page. They are 3 different channels with 3 different audiences and 3 different follow factors. So if what goes on your LinkedIn page is designed to your business-to-business, B2B partners, what goes on your Facebook page is really consumer-driven. What goes to your Twitter account has got to catch people's attentions at 140 characters or less. So if you've got something that you're thinking, I'm going to do 1 message a day and it's going to go to all 3 channels and my life's going to be grand, that's not going to work. So just remember that each 3 channels are different and make sure that you're marketing to each channel accordingly.
Just 2 things. First off, keep in mind that this is not going to happen overnight. It takes a lot of time to build up your audience, especially if you're doing it right. You build your audience up through posting good content, stuff that's interesting, stuff that's helpful, and stuff that's going to build engagement. So, but keep in mind that you can't buy the audience here. Especially, well, you can buy fake audiences, you can buy, you know, automated accounts and things like that. But to actually connect with your consumers, it's going to take time. You're not going to set up a Facebook page and get 100 fans overnight or 1,000 fans overnight. It's going to take time. And so don't abandon it after the first month. It takes a while to build it up, but once you build it up, then the return on it is going to be, you know, more than you can anticipate, more than you can imagine. So, you know, a little bit of patience, a little bit of dedication to it goes a long way. The second comment I want to make is about consistency, and that's a lot of companies, they start out really, really strong, posting a whole bunch of stuff for a week, you know, like 10 tweets a day, and, you know, a lot of, you know, 3 blog posts in the first week, and then they run out of material and they don't know what to post. Your audience is going to quickly become accustomed to the rate at which you post material. So if you're posting stuff every day, they're going to get used to you posting every day, and if it drops off, they're going to lose interest. So it's always best to start out slow in a couple of different channels, like Facebook and Twitter, for example, and build your audience up there and maintain that consistency, and you'll find your audience grows a lot faster and it'll be a lot higher quality group.
Yeah, one of the things, just remember that you have to interact. This is not filled with dreams. If you build it, they will come. So when you get that page built, you need to connect with things like, for instance, Facebook. You'll want to connect to the Chamber of Commerce. Every Chamber of Commerce has a Facebook page. You're going to want to connect your page to that page. You're going to want to connect your page to the wheel and tire guy that you use. You're going to have to do a reach out, and you'll do the same thing with Twitter as well. So a lot of people launch it and go, nobody can find me. Well, really? Surprising? So just make sure that you understand that this is all about shaking a hand. Where we used to do it in person, we'd reach out and shake a hand, say, hi, it's nice to meet you, I'm so-and-so. You're going to do the same thing with your social media presence. Just make sure that you're connecting to the people in your area that have like-minded followers, the target audience you want to do, maybe a high school, maybe your business, your chamber of commerce, whatever. But reach out and shake a hand.
Yeah, to me, I think the most rewarding thing you want the ROI. The ROI is when the customers start having conversations amongst themselves on your page about their car, and you're the vehicle. No pun intended. So to me, that has been, when those things start happening, it's like the train that starts out from the station. It's real slow, it's got a lot of weight behind it, it starts moving, but once that thing picks up momentum, especially when pointed in the right direction, that's why the plan, it needs to be there. That's your track. You need the fuel behind it. That's the information that they want to hear. So to me, the most important thing for ROI, if you really want to have that smile on your face when you go check your page, it's when the customers are talking amongst themselves. It's when they post something on your wall that says, hey, I just got my car back, and it's the greatest, it's the greatest feeling in the world to see whatever their car's names. I've seen that a lot. Everybody has a name for their car, and they'll go on there and they'll post, oh, Betsy, she looks so awesome. Thank you guys so much. I love it. I love having my car back. So to me, that's the payoff. The payoff is when they're having the conversation and you were there to let them have it. So
and I've heard Frank talk a lot, and he makes a great point about, we launch in our industry a lot. We launch social media and we forget about it. And Frank's done a lot lately. We've been telling people, put it on your estimate, top of your estimate head. Follow us on Facebook. When a customer comes in your office, there should be a big F on the wall and a big, follow us, follow us, follow us. When you deliver the car back and you hand them their keys, hey man, if you were so happy with what you did, one, can you Yelp me? And two, can you go on Facebook and tell me that you were happy with the repair?
Yeah, the reviews tab on Facebook is a great way to get those reviews, those customer reviews. That's what they're going to look at if they're looking at your shop page. So, we could go on here for days and days, and we're already way past our time.
That's awesome.
But we really appreciate you guys coming. We're all available, all our information, and we work with SCRS, and we thank them for this vehicle to be able to give you guys information about social media. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us today and being able to share your thoughts and ideas and the things that make your world turn. And thank you so much.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you all for coming. Have a great SEMA show. Thanks.
Thank you.